I saw a video the other day that really caught my attention and it inspired me to make this video. It's a video about boxing beats and rhymes top 10 heavyweight lists. I believe Stu Little, a guy named Stu Little, made a video on his top 10. Um, and I find the video a little disturbing in the fact that he disagreed with Boxing Beats and Rhymes top 10, claimed that Boxing Beats and Rhyme isn't a racist, but then he's acting like a racist. He didn't have any white fighters on this list, and so on. And what inspired me to make this video is I didn't like the fact that Stu Little in his video said, "Why would I care about the Negro League? Basically, why would I care about the past fighters, uh, past black fighters?" That's basically what I took from it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But he said that. He said, "Why would I care about the Negro League?" Right? Because apparently Boxing Beats and Rhymes praises as 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 I do myself. Um, Boxing Beats and Rhyme praises past African American fighters, especially African American fighters back then where there isn't much footage on, right? I do the same. I praise these fighters also. I praise Sam Lakeford. I praise Jack Johnson. You know, I praise Sam McVeigh, Joe Jeanette. These are fighters. They're historical fighters. This is why I support Boxing Librarians channel. Many of you guys don't support Boxing Librarians channel, but I do because Boxing Librarian have taught me about African American fighters that I would have never thought about learning about or even heard about. That's why I support them. And so shout out to Boxing Librarian for that. Great channel. Hope you guys subscribe. But so Stu Little uh made a video about Boxing Beats and Rhymes top 10. He didn't have Vladimir Klitschko on his top 10. He didn't have Jack Dempsey on his top 10. I believe Boxing Beats and Rhymes didn't have Jack Dempsey or Gene Tunney on this list because they didn't fight African American fighters back then. And you have to kind of agree with that. It's like Gene Tunney and Jack Dempsey, would they be in the top 50? Of course, of course. Yeah, they would be in the top 50. But when you squeeze it in top 10, when you got guys like Lennox Lewis, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, that's 7 already. That's 7 fighters already. Riddick Bowe, now we're at 8. You get where I'm coming from. That leaves 2 slots. 2 more slots. That could be Jack Dempsey or Gene Tunney. They wouldn't be in my top 10. And certainly Vladimir Klitschko wouldn't be in my top 10 either because he fought in literally the weakest era in the heavyweight boxing history, in my opinion. But Stu Little, when you said, why would I care about the Negro League? That shows me that you really don't care about the sport itself, right? Because it doesn't matter what you think. You don't have to care about the past black fighters back then, who fought for the black heavyweight belt, who, by the way, is regarded as a real belt. It just wasn't sanctioned like the WBC, but it's acknowledged as a real belt. But that's what you said. You said you didn't care about that, but that's your opinion. You see, that's your opinion. Okay? You're not black. So you don't have to care about the black past fighters in the past. Right? But a black channel, we get to support present and past black fighters, especially the past black fighters, because they went through so much just to get recognized. And that's what I didn't like about your video. You're forcing someone like Boxing Beats and Rhymes to put someone like Vladimir Klitschko on this list. Vladimir Klitschko wouldn't be in my top 10, but he would definitely be in the top 20. He would have to be because of his long reign. But now we got Joe Louis, we got Sonny Liston, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, Holyfield, Larry Holmes. All these names are above Vladimir Klitschko because of the era that they fought in. You understand what I'm saying? You said that Sam Langford didn't fight any ATGs, but he fought Jack Johnson. So I'm guessing, in your opinion, Stu Little, Jack Johnson isn't an ATG, but he is to us. He's an ATG to us because he's the first black African-American champion. Do you understand? Now, I know that once he became a champion, he didn't give other black fighters a shot at his belt, but that probably wasn't his fault. It was boxing politics, just like we have today. Just like we have today. You know? So, you're talking about, oh, Boxing Beats and Rhymes is naming fighters that you never heard of, black fighters that you never heard of. Well, then you should read more books. And you should go and do more history. Maybe go to Boxing Librarian's channel. You can learn a lot from his channel about past African-American fighters that no one's never heard of, that there isn't any footage of. But it's there. The information is there. You understand what I'm saying? You said you want to keep it down the middle. Well, you keep it down the middle. Boxing Beats and Rhymes had his own opinion. That's his opinion. His opinion. His opinion is, you said, oh, it's a bunch of rubbish that Vladimir Klitschko would get knocked out by Sam Langford. And ask anybody in the YTBC, ask any boxing fan, they'll tell you Vladimir Klitschko is too big, too strong. Sam Langford is too little. Well, neither one of you guys are right, because it's a fantasy matchup. They will never fight. It's a fantasy matchup. It's all subjective. Now, can Vladimir Klitschko fight Sam Langford past 15 round? Now we're 16, 17, 18, 19 round. If he doesn't take Sam Langford out, you think Sam Langford got a chance of beating Vladimir Klitschko? He would, right? Something to think about. Another thing is, if Vladimir Klitschko was to fight Sam Langford, they're not going to fight just once. They might fight 7 or 8 times, just like he did with, I believe, Harry Wells, or one of those guys, Sam McVeigh, where they fought like 10 times. I think it was Sam McVeigh, Joe Jeanette. I think it was Joe Jeanette. Sam Langford fought him like 15 times. Out of 15 times, you think Vladimir Klitschko is going to beat him? All 15? That was Boxing Beats and Rhymes list. And he doesn't have to put a fighter in there just because you don't want him in there. Debate him. All you got to do is debate him. If not, leave the brother's list alone. Leave my list alone. Leave anyone's list alone. Because no one's going to bother your list. We don't know who's on your list. But guys like Sam Langford, Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, they might not be on your list, and that's fine. That's your list. We all have our own opinion. It's all subjective. And whether you like it or not, even though if they're past fighters, it makes sense. They're still relevant today because the things that the fighters went through of the past, they paved the way for the fighters of the future. Right? Boxing Beats and Rhymes, you say you didn't like the fact that he's talking about past fighters and that you don't care about the history of black fighters or whatever. Marcus Garvey said, a man without the knowledge of his history is like a tree without roots. You got to know your history. You got to know your history. And if we're talking boxing, you got to know your history. Sam Langford It doesn't matter what anyone says. I don't care. If Bert Sugar had his own opinion, he felt like Sam Langford is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. I think he said Sam Langford is the best fighter of all time. That's his opinion. It's because Sam Langford is doing things that fighters today cannot do. You're not going to see Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight each other 15 times. You're not going to see Anthony Joshua and Wilder fight 14 times. It's not going to happen. So you can't compare fighters today of the fighters in the past because they've gone through too much and they fought too many times to give the fans what they want. You can't compare it. Now, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, that's his top 10 list. So be it. So be it. And I agree. I wouldn't put Jack Dempsey in my top 10 because he didn't fight any black fighters. There were great black fighters back then. If you want to prove you the best, you got to try to beat everybody. But would Jack Dempsey be in the top 50? Top 4? Of course, Jack Dempsey got to be in there. But he wouldn't be in my top 10. And Vladimir Klitschko wouldn't be in my top 10. It's just my opinion. I was inspired to make this video. This is the MOBC. Holla, you already know.